touch me, I feel butterflies. I'm gonna love you till the day I die. When you caught me like a knife. You don't know it, but you saved my life. Oh, what a perfect day. Why do you have to go away?
Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing. Music for me. Jesus, I'm not going to get rid of you, am I? You're just going to be a part of this thing. Do you like music? What? Okay, so what you just heard was a really rough, weird rendition of a brand new song by Tom Odell featuring Aurora called Butterflies, which I highly recommend you go listen to the real version of it and not mine. But it is an incredible song. The lyrics, it's just very simple, but it cuts right through to your core. And that's what we're here to talk about today is music. And music for me has always been a source of a euphoric escape into memories, into ideas and creativity, and almost this vision of a completely different world that I imagine is possible, maybe in the future, some part of our brain that we don't have complete access to. And what do I mean by that? That sounds bizarre, but music it can be a tool, it can be a vehicle that gets you somewhere that you didn't even know that you needed to get there, or you didn't even know you were going there at all. And that happens to me every once in a while. And I'll use one example in particular. A year ago or so, I discovered Tom Rosenthal and a song of his that is called It's Okay. And it came out about 8 years ago. It's not new at all. But if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's incredible. And I'd listened to the song a couple of times, and I was really enjoying it. And I tend to listen to podcasts or music in the shower, like many of us probably are doing. That's not a surprise. And I had the song on. I was in the shower, and for some reason, the lyrics in this song are very direct and almost as if they were written for me. Obviously, they were not, but it feels that way. And I think we all have those experiences with different songs that we feel that, man, that song was made for me and it helped me get through this time in my life, or it made that party way better, whatever the story is. There's a million gajillion of them. But this one in particular tapped into a memory that I had, but I didn't know I could access it or really see it. And for me, it was the moment I met my now almost 10 years married wife, and the moment that we met and that night, and sort of the things that happened after that brought us back together. And it's very hard to explain in words. It's almost impossible, but I could actually see it all as this song was playing, and I could somehow access this memory, but visually. I didn't have to close my eyes or anything. I could just feel the words, and I could turn them into images that weren't really images at all. And how that pertains to this video is that music is the constant, especially in my life. And when I am writing or thinking of ideas or making videos, anything and everything under my entire creative mind is always, there's always music. It just never fails. And music has been there to put me through so many different situations in my life and different stories and different relationships. And I don't think it's something that you can teach. I think it's something that you have to allow yourself to come into, because we all can listen to different songs and, in one ear, out the other. There's plenty of music that maybe you love that I don't. So, for instance, most country music, you can keep it. But that's not, that's just my opinion. You might love it and it might move you in ways that would never move me. So you have to kind of experiment and let yourself sit within your own thoughts, your own feelings. And in particular, if you are, thinking of a creative outlet, some type of inspiration, or maybe you have some sort of block and you can't, get there. Music for me has been there to help alleviate some of that stress that builds up, and it has allowed me to most recently start writing a completely new story that that pertains to a lot of things that have happened in my life, but it's also fictional in its own way. But let's go back a little bit more now. So music as an inspirational tool or as a character has kind of had its different moments, and there's two different ones in particular that I can remember. So years ago, when I was still living in Florida, I used to take these midnight bike rides, really late night. I would get on my bicycle, and at the time I had an iPod Shuffle, some of you may not even know what that is. This tiny little thing, you could just clip it wherever. And I had these Sony earbuds that would clip over my big ears, and they would never fall out, so they were perfect. And I would go on these 2, 3, 4 mile bike rides. And almost every single bike ride, I would listen to the exact same playlist. And I can't remember all of the songs that were in that playlist, but one of them that was and still is very much a part of my playlists and a part of my musical life is John Williams, the composer, the E.T. soundtrack from E.T. the Extraterrestrial. And I would blast that music in my ears and I would ride that bike and I could imagine I had E.T. in the front and I was flying through the air. The other instance where I recognized music that had the potential to kind of push me along in whatever I was searching for, or creatively, whatever that was discovering Max Richter. And if you don't know Max Richter, he's a composer. He's done music for The Leftovers, a bunch of stuff. I mean, if you've probably heard On the Nature of Daylight, because that's probably his most well-known song, but he did the music for a documentary called Waltz with Bashir. It's an animated documentary. I watched it in a college screenwriting class years ago, and the music became part of the film. Like, it really became its own character, and he carries that along into the HBO show The Leftovers, where Max Richter also composed the music, and it became just such a heavy emotional point for that show. And I think I started to really discover that that music isn't always just there for us to listen and have a good time and, sing the songs, but music can, in the right setting, in the right moment, sometimes unannounced, you don't have a decision when it comes along, but it can tap into something that just allows us to it's like the world becomes much, much bigger in our heads. And we can see so much in such a short period of time. A 2-3 minute song allows us to kind of come into this alternate universe, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I know most of what I'm saying sounds bizarre, a little out there. I am just kind of blabbing this off the cuff. I don't have a script. There's no teleprompter. There's nothing like that. I'm just kind of speaking my own truth, whatever that is for me. But you can try these things out. You can try to find that particular music that helps you to access. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you don't want to access those memories. I don't know. So I guess what I believe and what I'm trying to express to you is that music is here to help us. I think composers and artists and musicians have such a unique gift of bringing to our ears the sounds of our lives and the sounds of our memories, of our families, our friends, the people we love. And it really does have the ability, if you allow it to infiltrate the deepest parts of your heart, that you really can have this enlightenment-esque moment every once in a while. You don't get to choose when it happens. I don't, that's for sure. I remember getting out of the shower after listening to that song and having that experience and being completely overcome. If you've had that euphoric type of an experience, that is exactly what it was. I remember coming down out of the shower and I clearly was highly emotional and trying to explain to my wife what had happened. And, obviously she wasn't there, but she could feel probably the energy coming off of me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you haven't attempted to tap into that part of your mind, you should probably do that, especially if you're creating content, if you're an artist, if you are writing stories, if you're trying to make art that is going to help people and push people past their boundaries and help them to kind of look back at themselves and just kind of understand how finite life is. Because I think I say this all the time on the channel, we only get, this is it. So, this is why I just go off the cuff, and my style is very different probably from a lot of others, especially probably on YouTube. I don't know. And why there's a cat right here the entire time, I have no idea. But anyway, if this was interesting at all and you haven't been subscribed, then, it's free, so do that. If you have any questions, concerns about how wild I was talking here, drop those down below. And I guess go create something. That's the other thing. Whoops. I also created a Spotify playlist that I named The Music That Moves Me. I'll put the link down below. You can access that. It has a bunch of other songs on there, a lot of them that I'm not going to play in this video because, copyright. But yeah, if you like this video, hit the like button. That'd be awesome. And if you're not subscribed and you haven't left the video at this point, hit subscribe. Go watch some of my other content. And hopefully this has been somewhat inspirational, or at least you found out that you do not want to watch another one of my videos because you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and neither do I half the time. But so Theo says bye and go create something, right? Right?